A room with 4 walls on each side and a future inside. It's comparable to a fantasy land where full of dreams and hopes. The joy and smiles on the faces of the students are priceless. And the ray of sunshine in their eyes, yearning for their dreams. When it feels like good things are coming, unexpected things came all the way. And in a snap,
16,694 ang dagdag na COVID-19 cases sa buong bansa.
Community quarantine is hereby imposed in the entire of Metro Manila.
everything has changed.
I was excited to think I would be in college. I feel like I would be more independent, I'll have a sense of responsibility, and I'll be brave enough to take risks. I am also excited to meet new people and make friends with them. However, the pandemic occurs and everyone was forced to stay in their home and prohibited from meeting anybody else as the lockdown was implemented. The COVID-19 pandemic has also made getting an education and life in general even more difficult for young people. Also, with schools closed, lessons are being held remotely. Before the pandemic happens, I could say I used to play a lot of outdoor games and I have a lot of friends with whom I used to join clubs and contests. Then suddenly, almost at the end of the school year, the pandemic happened. I remember clearly when it was announced on television that the pandemic may spread and it has no cure yet. That's why it is very dangerous. I was happy that time because there are no classes, but as the day goes by, the government decided to conduct a nationwide lockdown because people are high risk of being infected.
During the pandemic, I was happy because there are no classes and it feels like a vacation. But as the day goes by, I realized that my enjoyment is reciprocated by people who's been exposed to the virus, such as the doctors, nurses, police officers, soldiers, and some volunteers. The government becomes strict that one person in the family can go outside to buy goods, such as alcohol, foods, and many more. I also experienced a situation where people are panic buying because the pandemic was getting worse. Thus, we are not allowed to go outside. That is why just we settle in the house playing games, watching, and playing guitar to avoid boredom. Friendships and relationships have also been transported to live chats and video calls. Indeed, it has been hard for everyone, for many lost their job, suffer from severe losses, and for us students. The online class was implemented.
I always ask myself, is it a good way to start my college journey through online classes? Because personally, I have never really experienced something like that before. Before the pandemic, it is somehow manageable because I have my friends with whom I can learn on and share experiences. But since it was my first time experiencing online classes, it was very difficult. I have faced so many obstacles, and even now, I still face this kind of obstacle. These challenges are hard, but we find ways to overcome those. One difficult challenge that I experience is the lack of gadgets that I can use in the online class setup. It is hard to attain knowledge, but I always think that with every obstacle in life, there is a way to success. But we need to be stronger to face and pass it with all our own. During the pandemic, we also faced difficulties such as lack of food, but the government gives what we call ayuda, which was a very big help, especially to poor people who do not have work. There are also many employees who work from home since the virus spread. Another challenge is that conducting online classes has been really tough for me, and time management has become challenging. Since I was staying at home the whole time, I cannot handle my time well because of the household chores as well as the school activities. I am also easily distracted by everything. Because we are in a virtual setup, I can easily access my phone and browse through social media, which get me distracted and leads me to not focus on the lessons. Also, the hardest part of being a college student in an online setup is being motivated in studies. Losing the closest person was very hard. The pandemic has let me and my family be closer to each other because we are all together every day. However, it also breaks our hearts to see a family member pass away because of the sad virus. For the past month, it was so hard to focus on my studies. We've been physically and mentally tired every day. It was so painful because I can't solely focus on morning because I have so many deadlines to finish in school. I wanted to do well, but I cannot find any motivation to continue after what had happened.
Lastly, the hardest thing in the new reality is the new reality itself. Doing nothing and the immense lack of communication with my friends in real life. It is not unbearable, but it is very difficult. No more laughs and excitement that can be heard only in the rooms with four walls. It's just us and the book and the laptop being alone in the corner. The education system nowadays is privileged and biased, as everyone said. But you'll never know the difficulties of one person unless you're in their shoe. Even though they all have the means to access education, the hardships they experience to cope with all of it are being measured. We are not lacking, but we are feeling pressured because we wanted to be worthy enough to the success of our family. Pointing the blame to someone who can have it all will never be the answer for those who can't. We all know that life of a college student is not that easy, but enduring the difficulties and pressure of living life as a student is the hardest.
Even though the pandemic become less today, it is very important to be prepared and be safe. Always wear face masks when going outside, practice personal hygiene, and many more. Experiencing pandemic as a student may help a lot, especially to our morals and mental health, since we can face every obstacle without the help of others. We always say that pandemic makes us strongest inside, especially students. But still, many of us stopped this school year due to personal reasons. And we students who continue to study despite of pandemic is our bravest success. I'll always make that as my motivation to continue studying, even though it is very hard. I'll always think many students who are very poor cannot provide for their own gadgets, and I always think that I'm lucky since I have a family who's willing to support me through ups and downs of my study.
Also, there are good things that have happened during this pandemic. I have met people who have caused me to overcome the situation. People who are there to help me. Even though I only met these people on social media, I'm so thankful to them. I overcome those problems during the pandemic because of the people around me who cheer me up and remind me that I have dreams to pursue, and those are my family and my friends, whom I met only on virtual or social media. Also, the only thing you can do is to accept and adopt this kind of situation. In addition to this, when I feel like giving up, God has never left me. Even though it's hard, I focus on my goal to graduate, make my parents proud, and have a better life for my family. Despite the hardships that I experience, I trust myself and believe that I can go through with it. Because it's been 2 years of virtual class, I learned how to manage my time well, and now I do set daily schedules and keep myself not distracted by so many things. Lastly, my family is what keeps me motivated in life. They are also my main motivation and always have been. Before, I really disapproved of the online class learning mode because of how hard and struggle it is. But given today's uncertainties, I am more afraid that the health of my family and of many people will be at risk. With this, experiencing the pandemic as a student makes me grow in life, from my decision and many more. Although studying is very hard, I wanted to have a successful life as we go on through this.
After 3 years, we will all be wearing a black toga and will receive our diploma, which symbolizes our accomplishment as a student. We will reminisce about all the challenges that we've experienced and will be proud of ourselves as we overcome those difficulties. As long as we put forward the effort, we can achieve whatever we want. Nothing is impossible. We will all begin to realize that life is much more colorful than we initially thought. That's why, to all students out there, keep fighting. Padayon.
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 Scholar ng bayan.